Hello everyone, we are here today and we are going to be running our Shimadzu fatigue tester and really universal tester, bending tester, and all of the above. So let's go ahead and we are going to get this started up. So this is a hydraulic, basically universal and fatigue tester. You see we've got lots of equipment here that we should definitely clean off before we go ahead and get started. But we have basically two kind of key positions here. One, we have the machine. We have our controller here, which is the servo controller for 8030. We're going to see that in a bit. This is essentially the controller for our video extensometer, which is right here. And then we have our computer unit controlling it. So you want to leave almost everything on. And we have basically some critical software here. One, you can see essentially this data analysis software for data viewer. We're going to export everything and obviously do our own analysis. This servo 48030 is also really critically important. We don't touch this. Epsilon 1 GUI, we're going to do that in order to interface with our video extensometer. And then there's another region essentially over here that we are going to look at our our motors, or our hydraulic pump. So we have a three-phase, essentially, power. We really want to keep this power supply on at all times. We're not going to open this, but double check, make sure this is on. Our pressure gauge should be at 0. This should be very loose. So you can see here, we tighten that essentially in order to increase essentially the pressure gauge. There's an equation essentially that we're going to utilize in order to see how much pressure that we need depending on our force. This should be in lockout mode, but before you get started, you want to open up essentially these valves because we would need to essentially cool our pump, and you can kind of see that right there. So let's go ahead and we're going to use our servo controller in order to get started. One thing that you'll notice is right now we've lost the hydraulic pressure, so now this is all the way down. Once we get started, this is going to be essentially what's going to be moving up and down. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is we are going to turn on and this will take a minute. If you turn on and if you're using the video extensometer, you probably want to give that about 1 minute to 3 minutes before we start to play with the GUI here. So it's starting, and this is the fun stuff. Whenever you change grips, you should turn this on and shut off essentially the pump as well, because each time it's doing this initializing and it's also doing basically like an initial calibration. So depending on essentially the grips, and you can see some pretty heavy duty grips here, you're gonna wanna change essentially, or you could always zero calibrate it out, but the e-calibration step that it's doing right now is really important. So even though it's arduous, you can see right there, executing eCal. So it's taking into account the grips and everything that are put in, which right now we have a 3-point bending grip. So we're doing this, and don't worry. Checking the shunt valve, everything. So we're complete, we're initialized, and you can see here our stroke is at the position, and this is actually really important. So right now you see this is actually all PID controlled, and we always want to be on the stroke. We never want to control by the force because that's going to always try to put it at a position of force and you can kind of smash your hand. So we want to control by stroke. Stroke is basically this here. So if it's all the way down, and this is kind of the hard thing to kind of keep in track, down is in tension, so that's always going to be positive. If we move this up, it's going to decrease in length, and we have a total of 100 millimeter of stroke length to play around with. So what we're going to do here is, now that we've got it up and going, we're going to press run, and we're going to run. So we're going to press that run button, we're going to press run 1. And you hear noise in the background there. And then we're also going to press, and you can see actually it's trying to draw some pressure here. We're going to also press load, and then we're gonna put the load unit on. And so now we're gonna go over here. We always want to run, and there's an equation, we'll show it in a bit, for how much pressure we need. So we need to go to at least 8. 8 is the minimum, 8 MPa, in order to support the frame. I'm gonna go a little bit higher. I'm gonna go to 11. We never go above 21, I believe. So there's a maximum limit. And actually, maximum right here, 21 MPa. So, we're gonna go over here. And now we can start to move this one. There's a couple of things to notice here. These need to be in the lock position. Once you unlock it, you can move this cross set up and down by pressing this unclamp and up simultaneously. Whenever you're just starting off like we're doing, you want to move up first, not down. Because basically you want to make sure that you have that enough hydraulics to essentially push up. You don't want it to just kind of fall down. So what I'm going to do right now, if possible, I'm going to swivel my little machine thing up here. I'm going to get a good little vantage point, hopefully. Hopefully we can see. Let's see here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to unclamp. First of all, I'm going to undo this here. Unclamp this. I'm going to unclamp this. And I'm going to press here. I have to press unclamp and then up simultaneously. I'm just going to move this up. So, I could clamp this now. Once it's done moving, I can move it back down as well. So that's how you do essentially jog movements. Now, I want to now raise essentially this stroke head up. So I'm going to say, let's go ahead. I'm in stroke. So I'm going to say mean translation, and I'm going to say go to 50. So I'm going to say go to 50. And I'm going to say translate in 10 seconds. And we can see it's moving up. And you can see it measuring here. We can go even further. So let's say, I'm going to go, no, actually I'm okay. All right. So this is great. We're kind of moving and jogging and kind of looking at where we're at. Now what we want to do is we are going to actually go ahead and you can move. Actually, this is a good chance. So I can enable the control here. So let's say I want to go fast and I want to move, let's say I can move like this. So I can say go up further. And you can kind of see the motion. It's hard to see. It's actually pretty good. So let's say I wanted to really I want to go to 40. So you can move it manually a little bit as well. The actual like RAM. But essentially, I think it's easier to just press the button. So I can just unclick, unenable, and I can say, go to 40. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's go to 30. 30, enter. And you can see it moving, and then there's emergency stops and all that good stuff. So, what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, but we're gonna go through a series of essentially tests. So we have fatigue grips, we have compression grips, we have essentially tensile grips here. We're gonna go through a myriad of these tests, and we're gonna start off with a good old-fashioned 3-point beam bending, just demonstration of how this works. And we're gonna do it with basically a round bar this time, of wood. So, I'm gonna clean some of this stuff, and we are gonna go back, and when we look at how do we actually run this software. So see you then.